Today's episode of Variant is brought to you by lynda.com.
Today on Variant, I give you the history of Reverse Flash. Welcome to Variant, where we love comics more than Martian Manhunter needs his own series again. I'm your host, Aris Quinones. As we all know, next week is the mid-season premiere of Flash on CW, so I figured this was the perfect time to talk about Reverse Flash since he's been such a big part of this season. Plus, I know you guys want me to talk about this awesome villain who has had 5 different versions over the years. Yeah, that's right, 5. So let's kick this pig, or any other expression you want to use for getting started. Like I said, there have been 5 different Reverse Flashes over the years, so I'm going to start with the oldest and work my way to the most recent one in DC's New 52. The first Reverse Flash is the Rival. He was an enemy of the very first Flash, Jay Garrick, and while he didn't actually call himself Reverse Flash, he is considered the Golden Age Reverse Flash. The Rival Flash is Dr. Edward Claris, and first appeared in Flash issue 104. He's a former professor at the university attended by the Golden Age Flash, Jay Garrick. Dr. Claris believed that he had recreated the formula that gave Garrick his speed, which he calls Velocity 9. But being angry at the rejection of his claims by the scientific community, Claris became a criminal wearing a darker version of Flash's outfit. His version of the formula, however, proved to be temporary, and he was defeated when it ran out. In Justice Society of America issue 16, it was revealed that the Rival had battled the Flash for several months after his defeat, and in doing so, reached light speed and vanished into the Speed Force. He would return after 50 years of being trapped in the Speed Force, which drove him insane and led him to go on a killing spree. The Flash eventually managed to absorb the Rival's speed and reabsorb him into the Speed Force before he could commit his final murder, which would have been the Flash's wife. Moving along, we have the most popular and well-known Reverse Flash, and my favorite Reverse Flash, which would be Professor Zoom or Eobard Thawne, who first appeared in the Flash issue 139. I do want to note that Professor Zoom's origin is a bit confusing since it involves time travel, and anything dealing with time travel can get confusing, but I'm going to simplify it and just tell you what you absolutely need to know. Thawne started out living in the 25th century as a fan of the Flash and became desperate to meet him. After gaining super speed by replicating the electrochemical bath that gave Barry Allen his powers and losing years of his life in the process, he underwent surgery to make himself look just like Barry Allen. He then traveled backwards in time using the cosmic treadmill to meet his hero. But Thawne became mentally unstable after arriving several years after Barry's death. He discovered from the Flash Museum that he was destined to become the Reverse Flash and actually die at the hands of his idol. He then convinced himself that he was Barry Allen. However, his true identity is eventually revealed due to his more violent nature, like attacking Central City in revenge for forgetting him. And by him, I mean him thinking he's Barry, but not the real Barry, because at the time Barry Allen was dead and Wally West was the current Flash. You see what I'm saying? Confusing. He was ultimately defeated by the Flash family and sent back to the future. His memory was wiped of the incident due to the trauma of time travel and the beating he got from Wally West. But in the back of his head, he still thought Barry Allen had betrayed him and later became a criminal known as the Professor. As the Professor, he found a time capsule containing the Silver Age Flash costume. He was then able to use the machine to amplify the suit's speed energy, giving him the abilities of the Flash as long as he wore it. In the process, Thawne reversed the colors of the costume. The suit became yellow, the boots and lightning bolts became red, and the chest symbol's white circle became black, and he took the new name Professor Zoom. Fast forwarding a bit, Professor Zoom appeared within the Speed Force in Flash Rebirth, as he's the one responsible for the return of Barry Allen and making him the Black Flash. The Black Flash has the unfortunate ability to kill any speedster he touches. Barry discovers this unfortunate power after he vaporizes Savitar. Barry, fearful that he will inadvertently kill Jay, Wally, and Bart with a touch, decides to return to the Speed Force, and as he returns into the Speed Force, the black costume burns off. When he does return, Eobard Thawne appears and explains that Barry was infected with Thawne's negative Speed Force energy, which was causing him to cancel out the other speedsters with his touch. But when Barry ran back into the Speed Force, he generated enough positive energy to rid himself of it. Eobard even tried to stop Barry Allen from ever becoming the Flash, but realized if Barry never became the Flash, he could never become Reverse Flash. So since he couldn't get rid of the Flash, he figured he would ruin Barry Allen's life instead, like going back in time and killing Barry's mother. Of course, this had already happened in Barry Allen's life, but when he realized Professor Zoom was the one who murdered her, he went back in time to save her in the Flashpoint storyline, which changed history and caused him to never become the Flash at all. During this time, Thawne was running through the time stream, which transformed him into a living paradox, meaning Thawne could be Reverse Flash whether he kills Flash in the past, present, or future, and he will still exist. But Thomas Wayne kills Thawne, and Barry goes on to fix the timelines, but in doing so creates the New 52 timeline, which merged the Vertigo, Wildstorm, and DC Universe all together. Moving on yet again, we have Hunter Solomon. He first appeared in The Flash Secret Files and Origins, issue 3. Solomon was a former FBI agent who was injured by Gorilla Grodd when Grodd staged a massive prison break and as a result was left paralyzed from the waist down. Hunter asked Wally to use the cosmic treadmill found in the Flash Museum to travel back in time to stop the event from ever taking place. Wally declined the offer, saying that he could not take the chance in disrupting the time stream. Hunter was angered by this and felt that Wally had refused his offer because he had never suffered personal tragedy or loss like previous Flashes, and thus he could never understand the importance of Solomon's request, or how terrible it truly felt to suffer a great loss. So Hunter broke into the Flash Museum in a desperate attempt to use the cosmic treadmill himself. It didn't work, and the resulting explosion destroyed the museum, and it was soon after that Hunter found out all was not well. Hunter decided that if he could cause a great tragedy in Wally's life, he would be able to make the Flash a better hero, so he became the new Zoom. Sometime later, Solomon would lose his powers, going back to being crippled and could no longer be Reverse Flash. The next Reverse Flash is Thaddeus Thawne II, aka Inertia. He first appeared in Impulse issue 50. Inertia is the evil clone of Impulse, aka Bart Allen, making him Bart Allen's Reverse Flash counterpart. Despite these genetics, he is a brilliant and sadistic sociopath who boosts his speeds with steroids. The Rogues eventually killed Inertia after they found out that Impulse was a kid who Inertia made them kill. And this brings us to the last and most current Reverse Flash, Danny West, who first appeared in the Flash New 52 Zero issue. He is Iris West's brother, who received his powers from a freak combination of a Rogue's attack and an incident which involved the Speed Force granting powers to several individuals. While the previous Reverse Flashes only wore a costume, Daniel West wears an armor that he can control, made from the scrap metal from the Speed Force supercharged monorail that was destroyed in the incident that gave him his powers. Long story short, Daniel attempted to go back in time to kill his own father because he was the reason for his sister Iris being disappointed in him all these years. So the Flash convinces Daniel to give his powers to the Flash and let the Flash fix his mistakes. And that is my brief summary of all the Reverse Flashes over the years. Obviously there's a lot more to each character, but that's the overall gist. But if you just can't get enough Reverse Flash, here are some reading recommendations. You have The Return of Barry Allen, Flash Rebirth, Flashpoint, The Death of Professor Zoom, Rogue War Chapter 5, and Flash Blitz. Those should be enough to get you guys started. Lynda.com is an online learning company with more than 77,000 video tutorials that teach software, creative, and business skills. Memberships start at $25 per month and provides an unlimited 24/7 access to top quality video courses taught by expert instructors with real-world experience. Learn anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace, from bite-sized tutorials to comprehensive courses in web design, program design, photography, business, audio and video, 3D, and animation. And you can learn on the go with their optimized mobile site or free iPhone and iPad app for members. Try Lynda.com for free for 7 days by visiting lynda.com/variants and get some knowledge in your brain. Did you know Marvel used to have a prize they sent out called the No Prize? The No Prize is what fans would win when they would find a continuity error inside a Marvel comic, but made up an explanation so that it would appear that there was no real error at all. The fans would write a letter with an explanation to Stan Lee, who would publish it in his letter column. If Stan Lee loved it, the fan got a No Prize mailed to their home address, which was an empty envelope, hence the name No Prize. In the beginning, a bunch of fans were shocked and thought that their prize had been forgotten or that somebody took it out of the envelope. So Stan Lee later wrote in his letter page that the No Prize was in fact just an envelope. And I gotta say, I think this was a genius move on Stan Lee's part. It's just hilarious, and it shows that Stan Lee's sense of humor is one of the many things that makes him so awesome. First up for Wednesday, January 14th, we have Star Wars Issue 1. Star Wars finally returns back to Marvel, where their first comic book series was printed. If you're a Star Wars fan in any capacity, you need to at least check out this first issue. Next, we have Mortal Kombat X Issue 1. Mortal Kombat is probably my all-time favorite fighting game, and I love comics, so of course I have to check out their new comic book series that's a prequel to their new upcoming video game. Here we have Grayson Issue 6. This is the battle you never thought you'd see, as Grayson goes toe-to-toe with Midnighter. And finally, we have Justice League United Issue 8. In this issue, the fate of the universe is decided in a battle between the Justice League United and the Legion of Superheroes. And that brings another episode of Variant to a close. But remember, you can always like our Variant Facebook page to keep up with the show and all things comic related. You can also follow me on the Twitter world if you so wish at twitter.com/Aris_Quinones. But I will see you guys next week when I talk about all things comics.
Aris, I think Wally West is better because it's even been proven that he can use the Speed Force better, but he just doesn't want to.
I think Wally West was the funniest one, and I liked Young Justice, so I'll choose him.
Wally West. I'm just kidding, Barry Allen.
Barry Allen.